What up, people, my friends, followers? So I got a good video today for you guys. We're gonna talk about some real shit, some shit that pertains to life, and how it's going to put things in perspective for yourself. How it put things in perspective for myself and allowed me to see what's possible. One of the things that I've discovered in this version of reality that we live in is that oftentimes we prevent ourselves from creating the lives that we want because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in the reality that is possible, when anything is possible, but we allow the opinions and dictatorship of other people to mold us, to say, hey, this is who you are. This is how you should be. This is what's possible for you. And I think for the longest time, in my life, I allowed that to happen. I allowed that to happen because, I was molded by the system, by the system of depression and poverty, the poverty mindset and stuff. And it made me into something that I am not, which is a doubtful, self-doubting, self-sabotaging human being. And I am not that. Today, I'm a very empowered individual because I understand certain things now. But I wasn't always like that, I achieved greatness at a very young age in my basketball career because I understood work ethic. I understood that at a very young age. But I never understood that if you apply that work ethic to anything, literally anything, that you can achieve greatness, right? And my belief and self-doubt in myself was created by my circumstance, by my living circumstance, by what I was born into, right? And so a lot of us, we go through an entire lifetime, many, many years before we really realize, that anything is possible. So like in my life, up until I was about 28 years old, I did some phenomenal things through basketball. I achieved a certain level. I know how good I was because there just really wasn't anybody that could hold a candle to me, couldn't D me up or anything like that, unless I was injured, right? That's probably the only time, and even at that, I was still killing these people, right? And then I declined, right? I reached a huge, I never really, what do you call that? Hit my peak because I was always injured throughout my career with my knees and stuff. But even during that time, I was achieving certain things, with, surgery I got at 18 years old, ACL and MCL surgery, and then achieving those things. So that put things in perspective in what is possible, right? And then I hit a decline. My knees started getting really bad, and I started getting, overweight. I think I hit like 230 pounds. I'm actually 220 now, but I'm an athletic 220, right? Point being is that my health started to decline. I was drinking all the time. I was doing drugs every so often too. I was starting my online business, but one of the things that internet marketing did for me was it really pushed me into the self-development and growing myself even more, right? Everything happens for a reason, don't get me wrong. So I was destined to go down this route. But point being is that I eventually, my knees got really bad. Both knees started getting really bad, and because of that, I stopped playing basketball really. I pretty much, I went only every so often. I had to get surgery on my left knee. So now I have surgery on both knees. And I'm battling with that. And so basketball has been a part of my life my entire life, right? And it really got me through the toughest times in my life. And without basketball, I became extremely depressed, and being depressed and not having the thing that you love most in your life, it really, well, not the thing that you love most in your life, but the thing that really helps you get through life, and then that's taken away from you, it really puts you into this really depressive state, right? So I've gone through a lot of trauma in my life growing up, dysfunctional family, drug addiction through my mother and father, abandonment, all that stuff. And then having to deal with all the friends dying in my life, like all my friends. And then having to deal with the loss of basketball. So it's just constant PTSD going through my life, right? And never really dealing with it, never really getting any help with it, right? But point being is that, so I'm hitting like rock bottom, boom. Like I'm just, people are starting to say, you know what, Gene ain't great anymore. Gene is washed up. He's done, right? And a couple guys, I call them, basketball friends, you know what I mean? That I played against a lot at Bonzer. They started saying this. They started saying, oh man, he's slow. They started saying all these things, right? And so I was really slow. I could still shoot phenomenally. It didn't matter how slow I was just a great shooter, right? But point being is that, yeah, I did hit rock bottom as a basketball player. My health is really bad. And I was drinking and doing cocaine every so often too as well. But so I got to a certain level, I got sick and tired of people doubting me, right? I guess because they don't know who I am. They don't know what I've been through. They only see what they see on the outside. They don't know what's on the inside and what I've been through as a person. So they don't know how I got to that point, right? And then losing basketball and having people say these things about me. And it was pretty much said, everybody was saying it, right? Because they've seen me. They've seen where I was, right? They've seen it, and then they've seen how fat, where I declined. But then, they don't realize all the injuries that I've been going through, as well as a player that really prevented me from, achieving the next level, right? But yeah, point being, I hit rock bottom, right? And so I did. Yeah, Gene was washed up, but I achieved something, right? Before that, I achieved a legacy. I created this massive legendary legacy. Everybody knows. And I knew how to get there, right? I knew how to get there. I knew the blueprint of getting to that level. So I challenged myself. I wanted to challenge myself to see what was possible. Is it possible that I achieved that before? Could I do it again? And then this is like, I'm at my later stages in my life. I'm like getting old, you know what I mean? I'm not old. I don't look old. I don't feel old. I certainly don't play basketball like I'm really old, but my age is getting up there. But I knew that anything is possible. I knew anything is possible. And I wanted to prove that. I had something to prove. Not for myself, of course, also for my legacy as a basketball player. I wanted to sustain my supremacy and make sure everybody knows who I am. So when I leave the game, if I ever leave the game, I don't know if I ever will, but if I ever decide to leave the game, my legacy is going to be there, right? And people are going to still be striving to overcome it and beat it. And you know what? That's what it's about. That's what setting the bar a certain level so that you can push people. Even when I'm not pushing people, motivating, they're trying to break my records, and they can break it if they want. One day someone will, right? So I did what a lot of people couldn't do. they could do, but they couldn't do it mentally. They couldn't do it emotionally, spiritually, because they got too much going on in their life, right? So I wanted to prove that it is possible to achieve greatness again. And so I started playing in Roundball Basketball, right? And quite frankly, I think it's the best league in BC, for all of Canada, possibly, because I don't see any other leagues that do what they do, produce what they do. You could literally have a career with Roundball Basketball, and you'd be satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with playing 3 times a week, playing in 3 leagues. I could play in like 6 leagues a week because of Roundball, because now they have competitive leagues and stuff. Point being is that, it's an amazing opportunity. It gave me an opportunity and a platform to sustain and prove my supremacy again. Prove to everybody, hey man, you really think I'm washed up? Okay, watch me become great again. And I warned a few people. I said, watch, you see, watch what's going to happen. And so, at first, the initial struggle was to find the proper formula. It was like, okay, I knew what I was capable of as a player, but I knew in order for me to sustain my supremacy, like I knew how great I was when I was younger. I had all these elements. I could pass, shoot, I can dunk, I can get to the hole anytime I want, I could finish. I was averaging like 40, 50 points a game, right? So, but I can't do that anymore, right? I realized I can't do that anymore. And so I had to fill those empty voids inside my basketball game with people who can do that. And at the exact same time, because I'm a playmaker and I've always been a great playmaker and a shooter, I knew I still had that. But when you surround yourself with certain elements, you can achieve greatness. This is the same thing in your life. It pertains to your life the same thing as it pertains to basketball. When you surround yourself with certain elements, you're going to achieve greatness, right? So I put the excess shooters in there, the great defenders, the great rebounders, the great scorers, and I surround myself with that complement my own game. And at the exact same time, achieving greatness individually while winning, right? And so my journey in Roundball in 2.5 years alone resulted in creating my own team, Pigeon Park All-Stars, 11 team championships. I individually hold the most championships in the league for as an individual with 13. And then my teammates all hold the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Regular season MVPs, Demetrius Harris holds the number 1 spot with 7. I hold 5. I got 5 up there. Top Playmaker Awards, I don't think anybody's going to catch that anytime soon, but I got 17. And the next player is Paris, who's got 7, right? Top Scorer Awards, Parm Baines holds 4. Parm Baines, probably one of the best scorers to ever come out of BC. Amazing player. And then it's Demi Harris, and then it's me with 3. Demi with 4. Demi's tied with Parm with 4 with top scorer, and then I got 3. I'm tied with Elliot Mason. So point being is that, so I achieved all these things in 2.5 years, right? Of course, it was a build-up of building who I am, rebuilding, Terminator, so to speak, adding all these elements, growing as an individual, eating healthier and all that stuff. But it didn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. You can achieve greatness if you just do the work, if you just make the sacrifices. I don't drink drugs. I don't do drugs or alcohol. I have a strict diet. There's a lot of things in my life that I sacrifice so that I can achieve greatness, right? And I sustain my primacy. My legacy is sustained because I took it upon myself. I took it personal. And it has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with drive, motivation, want to be better as a human being. So I don't know what you guys think about this video. Let me know. If you got any questions, drop it down below or hit my inbox. All right, peace.